On to this week's video. These are the videos where I keep a vlog of my week to give you an idea of what it's like to be a professional musician working in the UK. Now, coming up on this week's video, the keyboard player dismantles the drum kit mid-song. I meet one of my favourite artists whose dad was also probably one of my top 3 favourites. And one of the best pedal steel sounds I've ever heard, on guitar. Now, before I get onto the gig footage, I've had quite a busy week and I'm not feeling very good. I'm very blocked up. I've been feeling like this for 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's rather uncomfortable and distracting. I'm struggling singing on some of my gigs. As you can hear, I'm very and I keep coughing. But as well as doing about 4 gigs, I've also been to see a couple of gigs. Now, the one that I showed a little picture of earlier, and I bought a t-shirt when I was there, was Ashley Campbell and Thor Jensen. Now, I urge you, if possible, to go and see them because it was absolutely amazing. It was virtuosic as well as being very musical. Thor is an amazing guitarist. He's a sort of gypsy jazz guitarist, and Ashley Campbell, who's Glenn Campbell's daughter, she's got the most amazing voice, and she also, her banjo playing is out of this world, and they were doing some arrangements of some older songs plus some stuff that they've written, and it was incredible. So I urge you to go and see them if possible. They were also supported by a band called Our Man in the Field, and they were very good as well. And even better, the pedal steel dobro player I spoke to afterwards, because he was using a Milkman amp. He was using one of the pedal amps through a Milkman cab that had the same finish as my Milkman amp, so I managed to have a good old gear nerd with him afterwards, which was very nice. His name's Henry Senior. The other gig I went to, this was a new experience for me. I went to see an orchestral concert. I won't say classical concert in case I get pulled up, because it was Gershwin and Aaron Copland, but it was the Brighton Philharmonic Orchestra at the Dome in Brighton, and it was absolutely brilliant. And part of the reason I went was my kid's piano teacher, Vic, she recommended it. As a pianist was Joanna McGregor, who wrote the books that my daughters learnt out of when they first started. There's a picture of her there. Oh, don't know if you can see that, but she was absolutely brilliant. They wheeled the piano to the front, and she did Rhapsody in Blue amongst other things, so I really enjoyed that, and I'm going to have to go to some more of those. So my first gig that I played at, I'm going to show you this was for a menu launch at a bar I played at a few times before, and what is good about this kind of gig is they give you a very nice meal. So here we are, this is what I had, a load of scallops. I'm going to show you a couple of clips here. Now, the technical gear nerdery, I'm using my Quad Cortex with my hybrid mode. I've done video on that if you search for that, and also it's through the Mackie Flex column PA, which you can see in the footage, which I think sounds very good, and it's one load from the car, one handful and one speaker thing on your shoulder, so very useful. And I'm showing you this clip because I didn't realise that sometimes I don't use a pick. I was just using my fingers in a sort of Mark Knopfler style, which is appropriate because this is a little bit of a solo from Romeo and Juliet. And then just another little clip, a bit of COD, Django Reinhardt style jazz, I suppose, here. I don't know if it quite sounds like that, but that's the kind of idea. After having seen this guy who can do it properly, makes me feel like I probably shouldn't have bothered. Anyway, have a look at this. next gig, I've shown this gig lots of times, and I've shown myself playing this solo lots of times. It's Valerie, but I do it differently every time, and I like to show this because I surprise myself that I do it differently every time. I'm not sure it's because it's I'm coming up with something off the top of my head very cleverly, or just because I can't remember what I did last time. But anyway, I thought this was a good tone. This is the guitar that I've mentioned in the last couple of videos that I've had refretted, and I'm really enjoying. I've been playing it on most gigs through my new Milkman amp, which I've also mentioned, and I must get round to doing a proper review of, through my standard pedal board. So check this one out.
I've been feeling that way too, Tom.
A little bit of a diversion here. Johnny on keys, keytar, he can play anything, and quite often he does guitar solos that sound much better than my guitar solos. And on this one, he out-countryed me. Now I like to add some country guitar flavour to my guitar solos quite regularly, but on this he managed to do a pedal steel thing. We were doing My Girl, and he did this pedal steel thing, and as you can see, Josh the singer goes, "Oh yeah," as soon as he starts doing it. So check this out. This is very clever. I hope he does this on every song from now on. Then just one more clip from this gig, just a slightly different sound, a bit more driven with my wah-wah pedal, which is the full-tone Clyde Deluxe, I think it is, through the standard setup with my Milkman amp, etc. So check this one out. these next clips, these were from one of my favourite bands that I play with called Jamtastic. Now, I've known all the guys in the band a long time. Andy, the keyboard player, and I worked out that we probably first met when we were playing at a holiday camp when we were very young, in about 1994. Now, this was a very long drive. It was in the middle of Wales. We left about 10:30 in the morning and got there about 6 in the evening. But we did have fun. We were in a hired van. It was Lynn and Ralph and myself in the van, and we did have lots of laughs. These long journeys can be quite fun if you're having fun with the people you're with. When we got there, apparently this is the highest golf club in all of Wales, and amazing scenery. Unfortunately, it was raining for most of it, so we couldn't see it, but here's a photo of what we could see as it just started to clear, just before it got dark. And on the way back, Ralph stopped the van, and we got out, and we got our eyes adjusted, and it was the clearest skies I've ever seen in the UK. It was so dark, we could see the Milky Way. It was incredible. Now, in this band, I'm standing in for Mark, who you would have seen in some of my Mixed Feelings videos playing bass, because all of Jamtastic also play in Mixed Feelings. But in Jamtastic, Mark also plays guitar, so I double on bass and guitar when I'm standing in for him. I used to play a lot of bass on gigs, but I haven't done it for a long time, so it was a bit unusual getting back into it. So this first clip, I'm just going to show you myself playing bass. This is my bright yellow bass, which I don't like to take out of the house because it's a bit embarrassing. Now, here's a bit of interest for you. It's made by Larive, and I remember seeing this on a video for the band Europe playing Final Countdown, and I'm fairly sure the bass player was playing an identical bass, except it wasn't bright yellow, it was white, on the video for Final Countdown. I think that's right, but maybe someone can correct me on that. But it's an extremely well made bass. It's got all shallow hardware, it's got EMG pickups, ebony fingerboard, it might even be handmade. It's an incredible bass. It's just it's got that big pointy headstock and it's bright yellow. But apart from that, it sounds great. So check this out. And as often happens with bands that play a lot together and have known each other for a long time, they tend to have a bit of a play around on stage. And Ralph was singing All Right Now here, and I was just, well, I don't know if I was helping by moving his cowbell, so he kept missing it. And then Andy on the keys took it one stage further and turned his hi-hat cymbal upside down in the middle of the verse. So check this out. I thought it was funny. And then the solo from All Right Now, I've shown this several times, but this is through my Milkman amp. I don't think I've shown it through my Milkman amp, so I thought I'd show you this anyway.
What am I supposed to do with this? Ladies and gentlemen, these bloody pranksters. Anyway, one of them's going to do a solo. Here we go.
Last gig of the week, this was in London, in Greenwich, at the Royal Naval College. So it's a beautiful building from the outside, as you can see here. But often with these old beautiful buildings, the disadvantage is the acoustics inside weren't exactly designed for a loud amplified band. This is what the room looked like inside. and it had a very long natural reverb, as you can imagine. Even though it was such a beautiful building, I still felt I had to take a picture of my equipment, as I'd never played my Danny Gatton Telecaster to my new Milkman amp, and they match rather nicely. So here's a little picture of that. So I'm going to leave you with this solo that I did, just so you can hear what the Danny Gatton sounds like through my Milkman amp. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm bringing out new videos every week. I release them at 7 PM on a Friday UK time, so hopefully see you next week.